The missing neighbor who never existed. Dark clouds churned over the quiet cul-de-sac as Beth stood on her front porch, staring at the house next door. For as long as she could remember, it had belonged to Mrs. Elkins, a sweet old woman with a love for hydrangeas and waving at passers-by. But now, the house was empty, and always had been, according to her husband, Mark. "I think you're confusing it with the Johnsons' place a few blocks over," Mark had said that morning over coffee. "No one's lived there since it was built." Beth's stomach twisted as she ran through her memories. She distinctly recalled visiting Mrs. Elkins after moving in, borrowing a cup of sugar, even helping her with groceries. Her laugh, her faint lavender perfume. How could Mark not remember her? Determined to prove she wasn't imagining things, Beth knocked on her neighbor Kim's door. "You're talking about the house next to you? No one's lived there for years, Beth. It's been on the market forever," Kim said with an awkward smile. Beth's pulse quickened. That couldn't be right. That night, while Mark slept, she combed through her photo albums. There, tucked between snapshots of holidays and vacations, was a photo of her and Mrs. Elkins at the garden party 2 summers ago. Beth held it up to the light, her hands trembling. But as she stared at it, the photo began to change. Mrs. Elkins's figure blurred, fading into the background until Beth was alone in the frame. The air grew colder. A faint whisper brushed against her ear. "They'll never believe you." Her phone buzzed on the table, breaking her trance. A text from Kim. "I heard something strange in the empty house. Did you see a light on?" Beth hesitated. She looked out the window. The house was dark, but she could swear she'd seen a faint flicker earlier. Grabbing a flashlight, she stepped outside. Inside the house, dust coated every surface. It looked untouched, yet faint footprints led deeper into the shadows. She followed them to a room at the back. Her flashlight flickered as she opened the door to find nothing. But then, behind her, came a soft chuckle. Beth turned, the beam of her flashlight shaking as it illuminated a figure. Mrs. Elkins. Her face was pale, her smile too wide. "I told you they wouldn't believe you," she said, stepping closer. "And now, neither will you." The next morning, Mark woke up alone. Beth's side of the bed was cold. He checked the house, calling her name, but there was no sign of her. When he glanced out the window, he saw the house next door. Its windows gleamed as if freshly cleaned, and a faint scent of lavender wafted in through the open pane. Mark froze. For a moment, he swore he saw Beth standing in the yard, waving at him, before vanishing into thin air. But then, his phone buzzed. A message from Kim. "Crazy thought. Didn't you used to have a wife? Or am I imagining things? What would you do if someone you knew simply vanished from reality?" Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales from Ghostly Tale.